Everybody has bad days, and I don't care where you are when it hits, but they all hit. Whether you're at work, a family function, or just by yourself, we can all be struck with moods that aren't our usual balance. The reason why I want to make that point crystal clear before we talk about any of this today is because for most of the people we're talking about, they could have been experiencing one of those 1 in a million terrible days. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to think that this one interaction is indicative of their entire personality. That being said, there are a few moments, situations, and uncomfortable things that I witnessed or happened to me that I'll be sharing. So again, this is my perspective, my experience in these interactions. I don't want you to think this is like a call for you to go accuse people of things. Even though one of the stories I'm going to be telling today is kind of accusing people of things. I guess what I'm trying to say is this is for entertainment purposes only. You know what I'm saying? Are we cool? Can I take this disclaimer tag off and bring back color? Awesome. Hey everybody, it's Ricky from All Sorts of Words, and I love conventions. I love comic book conventions, sci-fi conventions. I've been to a ton of horror conventions, and they're all really fun. I like finding artistic people that I admire and then telling them to their face, I think you're great. Just in case if you're one of those people who ever wants to actually go to a convention, but you don't know what you'd say, just say thank you. I really appreciate your stuff. That being said, I have had some positive interactions and negative interactions with celebrities. But Ricky, you ask, so what? You're gonna boil down the intense human experience into a single 30 to 60 second interaction? Well, yeah. That's very astute of you. I know this seems like super judgy and kind of shitty, judging celebrity interactions, but let me tell you, all of the time, I find myself in a position where I'm kind of like the con expert. Please don't think I'm proud of that. And all of the time, people are saying like, hey, you met this person, what was it like? Usually because they're nervous about having that interaction themselves and they just want to know like, is this person a dick? Are they fun to talk to? What should I talk about? Stuff like that. So I guess this video could be useful, or we could just get to the entertaining part and start ranking celebrities, right? But I wanted to come up with a way to actually rank my experiences, and I came up with this chart here. Now, the middle sections are the easiest to explain, and the extremes are the more difficult ones to wrap your head around. So we're going to start in the middle and work our way out. Cool? Cool. The ones in the middle are super simple. Good day, bad day. If I meet a celebrity and I catch them on a good day, it's a generally neutral interaction. Like, hey, how you doing? Oh, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I pay my money, I take my photo, I fuck off. When it's a bad interaction and I caught them on a bad day, maybe the answers are a little shorter, maybe they're not making much eye contact, but still, I pay my money, I take my photo, I fuck off. These two designations are more my own personal experience. Was it a generally positive experience or a generally negative one? But either way, I'm not leaving and telling people they're the greatest thing since sliced bread or they actually eat cats. It's right in the center. Although you see the good day, bad day designation, understand that these are kind of interchangeable and it's in no way indicative of that person as a person. The extremes, however, are extremes. Okay, so first we have to start with the bottom tier because I think that informs the top tier much better if we do it in that order. Bottom tier, why is this called kick dog? So for a while now, my wife and I have had a discussion about like forgiveness and celebrity culture and even just forgiving people in our neighborhood. Like, what does that look like? Cancel culture has turned this media landscape that we deal with into a binary. Are they a person you support or are they a person that you hate? And there doesn't seem to be much middle ground. There's no room for indifference anymore. How many times have you been telling a story about a celebrity or a movie or something, and then someone interrupts you with, oh yeah? Oh yeah, big fan of that celebrity, huh? Well, did you know that they stick their dicks in cantaloupes at every single grocery store across this country? If you support that celebrity, you might as well be sticking a dick in a cantaloupe yourself. There are celebrities that have done terrible things, and then over years of repentance and hard work and acknowledgement, I feel that some things they can erase from their past. Like, look, I don't know where I stand on Mel Gibson. Like, I know what he did, I know what he said, I know what he's done. But if Robert Downey Jr. can give this speech about hugging a cactus and make him sound like a genuine human being, like what right do I have to step in and say, yeah, but that thing that I read about him?
Actually, I asked Mel to present this award to me for a reason, because when I couldn't get sober, he told me not to give up hope, and he urged me to find my faith. Didn't have to be his or anyone else's as long as it was rooted in forgiveness. And I couldn't get hired, so he cast me in the lead of a movie that was actually developed for him, and he kept a roof over my head, and he kept food on the table. And most importantly, he said that if I accepted responsibility for my wrongdoings, and if I embraced that part of my soul that was ugly, hugging the cactus, he calls it, he said that if I hugged the cactus long enough, I'd become a man of some humility, and that my life would take on a new meaning. And I did, and it worked. All he asked in return was that someday I help the next guy in some small way. It's reasonable to assume that at the time he didn't imagine the next guy would be him. Or that someday was tonight. So anyway, on this special occasion, and in light of the recent holidays, including Columbus Day, I humbly ask that you join me, unless you are completely without sin, in which case you picked the wrong industry, in forgiving my friend his trespasses, offering him the same clean slate you have me, and allowing him to continue his great and ongoing contribution to our collective art without shame. He's hugged the cactus long enough.
But what we agree on is this thing. There is no day that you can have, no fight with your boss, no argument with a loved one, nothing that will make an average person kick a dog. I don't believe that every single person has this capacity to lose their shit enough that they would actually hurt an animal. So my wife and I use that phrase, dog kicking, as like, that's the line. That's the line where a person can have the worst day, the worst life, the worst argument with their boss up to a point, but they're still not going to cross that line and kick a dog. It takes a particular piece of shit to do something like that. And so the people that I'm ranking at this level, they were either really mean in front of me, or in one gross case, they were getting some like #MeToo accusations spoken out loud at the convention when they were like 10 feet away. I saw it myself. It was really gross. Conversely, we have Kiss a Dog. This is the type of person that notices you have a dog and will drop down on all fours and baby talk and snuggle up with your best little buddy. People that kind of exude this ray of light, and you can just absorb it if you stand there. And it goes beyond their performing for a convention, because maybe there's no one around and they're just interacting only with you. I do have a couple of those stories in here as well, and thankfully, for all you pessimists out there, there are way more dog kissers in this list than there are dog kickers. Okay, that's everything. Now we get to have the fun part where I just show you the photos of me meeting certain celebrities, tell you the fun stories and the gross ones. And if you like what you see here, seriously, tell me that you want more, and I can reach into my bag and pull out way more celebrity stories, because I have done a bunch. Okay, let's get going. These are the best and worst celebrity meetings I've ever had. Oh, and like, if you enjoy this stuff, like, you could subscribe and like and comment, and like, that stuff gets me off. Like, I don't even really care about the YouTube algorithm anymore. This shit just gets me rock hard. Okay, so why the top change? Real talk. I wanted to try a new way of making videos so it would be easier on my schedule. So what I did was I filmed the entire previous section on Tuesday of this week. And I was like, I'll do a little bit more on Wednesday, a little bit more on Thursday, edit as I go, bing, bang, boom, everybody's happy. Then this happened on Thursday. We got hit with an unseasonable 1.5 feet of snow. And it was a full 1.5 feet too. Like, I didn't measure from the balls. And we lost all the power. So it's not until today, Friday morning, that I'm filming this section here to finish off the video and have it out for you guys by Friday morning. So, surprise! I'm going to be wearing a different top and not trying to trick you. Okay, let's start with the one that I think a lot of people would be most curious about, and that's Stan Lee. Stan Lee falls on an interesting position on my tier list because I saw for most people it was a bad day experience for them, but in the moment I got a really good day experience. This was about a year before he passed away, and the crowd was insane, and you had to pay up front. You could not buy tickets the day of. They made that very clear on the Fan Expo website. It was Fan Expo Toronto that I met him at. It's literally a meat grinder. He's behind a curtained area, and then the line snakes for infinity, and then one person at a time go in, take your picture, leave, so on and so forth. The cameraman is very much a drill instructor. Like, don't try to, plant your feet with your back to the camera and have a conversation. That's not what this is about. Go in, get your photo, get out. So as you're getting closer to the front of the line and you're meeting Stan Lee, you wrap around that curtain and you can see him sitting in a chair. He's an old man. What do you want? He sits in a chair, hands folded. You walk up next to him, you strike your pose, you take your picture, go. And I'm watching him. He's gonna meet 4,000 people that day, 4,000 the next, and again on Sunday, right? But he's got this kind of painted on smile, like almost like a smirk, survival, so that he can just like get through that many people. So it's kind of like, and he doesn't change positions. He just sits there, makes money. It's actually a pretty cool grift. But he gets to me. I've seen the dance enough times at this point to know this is a meat grinder. We got to get through it. So I walk up to him, and as I'm walking up, I'm talking to him so that I can get all this done at once. And this is exactly the interaction. Hello, Mr. Lee. I just want to let you know that reading Spider-Man taught me how to read as a kid. So I just wanted to say thank you. And Stan Lee goes, "Good, give me money." And I knew it for the joke that it was, and I instantly started laughing. And then he goes, "Ha ha ha, you're all right." It was in that moment that I learned that Stan Lee, he's one of those like empathic people. He gets off, or got off, on knowing that you enjoy him. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean he's like a manipulator. I'm not trying to make him sound bad. I'm just saying, like, some people get an extra special kick out of interacting with people in a positive way. And so he made a joke. I authentically laughed. And so he laughed too. And when I turned for the cameraman and gave my thumbs up, they took this photo. And man, that photo, seriously, go to Google Images and look at like Stan Lee meet and greet and look at everybody else that meets him, okay? He gives that plastered kind of smile. He's doing his job, he's making his money, but in that moment, we were both smiling, we had both just laughed, and he was enjoying himself with me for 5 seconds. And then literally, as you exit the curtain, they're right there printing off the photos, the 8x10s to hand you and say, like, here's your photo, see you later, and they want to sell you a frame and all that stupid stuff. But you're in a queue, it almost looks like a deli counter, there's no line anymore, where you're in this like queue and you're standing there and you can see the photos come up on the screen, the ones that they're working on, and they're handing the photos to everybody in the line, and they can look like, okay, is this the guy in the Adidas jacket? Cool, this is you. And they're handing out the photos. Well, I'm standing amidst 10 other people who just met Stan Lee, And so the photos are coming back and they put mine on the table, and the person making the photos goes, that's a really good picture of Stan. Little insulted they didn't say that was a good picture of us, but I get their point, because he was genuinely smiling. And then the other people next to me, almost in stereo at the same time, went, "Aw," because it really was a good photo. I do. It sounds like I'm playing, but I invite you, do a Google image search of Stanley at conventions. He gives that little smile all the time, but the smile that I got was the same smile he gives when he's like with Robert Downey Jr. And I'm definitely not Robert Downey Jr., but in that moment he made me feel that way. So this is a weird one, because I personally would rank this as one of the highest celebrity interactions I've had, because it was a great interaction. However, for most people that day, the overwhelming majority, I think, would put him at, good day or bad day, just because he didn't really give them that much zhuzh, but I got it, so fuck him, right? Okay, here's our first bad day. I went to a convention in Massachusetts called Super Mega Fest, and they had Christopher Lloyd of Back to the Future Doc fame, and why I met him, Uncle Fester for the Addams Family. I'm a huge Addams Family fan. More on that coming soon. I was pretty close to the front of the line when he was going to be coming out. It's a packed house. This is easily the biggest get this convention has ever seen, and they're excited. And the staff's buzzing, the fans are buzzing, we're all ready to go. Christopher Lloyd, come to find out years later, is kind of an A, private person, B, quiet person, and C, I knew this going in, an elderly man. In fact, he is so quiet that even other actors who have worked with him before have talked about it. Here is a clip from the actor who played Biff in the Back to the Future series. He wrote like a funny parody song when he was dipping his toe into comedy about all the questions he always gets. The name of the song is Stop Asking Me the Question, where these are all the questions he always gets and his quick explanation that goes along with it. So let's see what he says about Christopher Lloyd.
When I'm flying in a plane or I'm on the street, there's a lot of friendly people that I like to meet. They shake my hand but never ask my name, and they start asking questions that are always the same. Hey, what's Michael J. Fox like? He's nice. What's Christopher Lloyd like? Kinda quiet. What's Crispin Glover like? Unusual. Stop asking me the question.
So the scene is set. Everybody's excited. Christopher Lloyd's about to come out. He literally walks out, sees the crowd, and turns around. And me and my friend who I was with, who's equally excited, are like, "Oh, there he is. Oh," and he's gone. we thought like maybe he left his handler behind, or he forgot his water or something. No joke. He was gone for like 45 minutes. He just wasn't there. And so knowing what we knew later, it made a lot of sense that perhaps he was having, I don't know, I don't want to be a dick and be like he was having an episode or a panic attack. I don't want to diagnose someone I don't know, but he definitely seemed like he was having a moment to like be ready, come out, see the crowd, and go nope, and turn around and head back. And that theory is strongly supported by the fact that when I met him, it was stone face, no talking, thank you, thank you. He really only said thank you when we were watching him in the line. So I got my photo, I threw up my peace sign, which is like, it almost looks like I'm giving the British fuck you symbol in the picture, because I was at such an awkward angle when the photo was taken, but it was like, they didn't even have staff to like take the photo for you. It was a meat grinder, but in the worst way. The Stanley meat grinder, like you knew what you were getting. Photo in, professional photo done. This is on your camera. It was super fast. The guy barely made eye contact with you. He was looking at like your face a lot if you said anything to him. I didn't try to, but I saw the way he was talking to other people. So This is another tricky one, and that's why I paired it with Stan Lee, because for me, I would rather have never met him than have seen him struggle in the way that I saw him struggling. That made me uncomfortable. Like, look, hey, if you're a celebrity and out there and you ever watch this and you're thinking to yourself, maybe I'd like to do an autograph signing and it would, it would be fun, generate some revenue. Sure, it's a great way to make cash. However, like, your fans, the people who appreciate you the most, they would rather see you happy on TV than miserable in person. So, like, if this is something that you don't like doing, please, for the love of God, don't do it. I don't want to put this at Kick Dog, right? I would put this at the bottom tier, like the bottom sliver of Bad Day, because it felt like he didn't want to be there. This isn't something that he likes to do. So I would have rather had that he didn't. Here's one for all you anime fans out there. Colleen Clickenbeard. Colleen Clickenbeard is a famous, super famous, top-tier voice actor for anime and cartoon, and she's most famous for doing the American adaptation, the dub of One Piece, my all-time favorite Star Trek level, love it more than anything anime. Anime voice actors have the reputation in the convention scene of being the nicest people you could possibly meet. And they enjoy that reputation, I believe, because 364 days out of the year, they're just normal folks. They look like you and me, right? They're voice actors, not face actors. And, they can go to Rite Aid and be a nobody. They can go to a gas station and be a nobody. They don't need to wear sunglasses and fake noses out in public. They can be themselves and make their money, but they don't get that fame level appreciation until they show up to a con, and then all of a sudden they are gods. I feel like that is a population of people that are more apt to being patient and kind and respectful and happy to be there. Colleen Clickenbeard, I met at Fan Expo in Toronto, same convention I met Stan Lee. She had no one in her line, and it was just me and my wife. So she was my cameraman in that moment. And so I'm there, I'm excited, I'm doing all the talking. Colleen is super engaging. Hi, how are you? Oh my God, where are you from? Wow, you drove all this way. But when I hand my phone over to my wife to capture the photo, all her attention shifts to my wife. And she's like, oh, are you his friend? His wife, oh my God, is that your engagement ring? And she complimented her engagement ring. It's so beautiful. And she gave her a hug. She could even tell that, like, this is my thing, not her thing. I'm the big, fat, overweight nerd who's gushing, right? This other person standing off to the side, silent, holding the camera. And still, she did everything she could to engage both of us and create that positive interaction. And it worked. Helen was smiling. I was smiling. She doesn't do like the hover hand bullshit. She fucking gets in there with the hug. And we took a really intimate, fun, happy photo. Colleen Clickenbeard, class act. If you have the opportunity to meet her, please do yourself the favor. My mother-in-law contacted me and said, I was just driving and listening on the radio, and they say Danny DeVito is going to be at the Nashua, New Hampshire liquor store to promote his latest venture, Danny DeVito's Lemoncello. It's supposed to be free, and you can go meet Danny DeVito. Would you like to go meet him, Ricky? Ricky? Yes, of course. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Let's go. That was my interaction. And so I went. The crowd was maybe like 40 people. It was very small. Like, they promoted it on a radio, no website, nothing. But the crowd was like 40 people. They got really excited. And before he came out in the liquor store, in the middle of a flippin' liquor store, for crying out loud, everybody's singing along to Dayman because the crowd's just so hype. And Danny comes out, and he's got like a cameraman with him from like a local news station. Because that's really the point of this. It's not to meet fans. It's to promote his liquor, and it's going to be on the news. So he's off to the side. He's talking. Everybody's fine. Shows up at like a little folding table. You know what I mean? Like they sell at Walmart kind of deal. It's a liquor store. It's probably something they use for like, a birthday cake or something. And he's wearing sweatpants and a black shirt. And he's about 45 minutes late, to the point where at one point the crowd was muttering like, are we getting trolled? Is this actually happening? But he comes out, he sits down, and it is almost exactly how I characterize the Christopher Lloyd meeting. It is in, out, handshake, not very much talking. Hi, thank you. What's your name? Nice to meet you. And look, this was free. I didn't have to get into a convention. I didn't have to pay a handler. There was no handler. It was Danny goddamn DeVito sitting at a table talking to fans directly. And he signed everything put in front of him. So if you put a DVD in front of him, there were people that brought action figures and he would just like doodle on the belly of the action figure. He was signing the bottles of his limoncello without having sold them to us yet. So like, I didn't have anything to sign. I just wanted my photo. I grabbed the limoncello off of a case as we were walking and he just immediately signed it. Like, there was a moment where people were checking out and it was a hodgepodge in this little liquor store where like you could have literally just like walked out with free limoncello. Of course we paid for it, but like, I'm sure someone got away with it, but it was mechanical. It was year in, year out, and you got a photo. I'm going to rank this at good day, because on a bad day, I'm sure he could have charged people. He could have said no autographs, one photo. He could have said one autograph. There was a dude that walked up with a stack of DVDs and Danny just whip, whip, whip all over him. So I'm going to count that as a good day meeting, but still, there was no personal zhuzh. There was no negativity involved. It just felt like a standard television show meet and greet. Okay, still hanging in there. We're going to do two of my absolute favorite celebrity meet and greets ever. And then we're going to end with the really super negative, problematic one. The only one on this list that hits dog kicking tier. So we're almost there. Charles Martinet is the original voice of Super Mario long before Chris Pratt got his shitty hands all over it. He's that first Wahoo! Wahoo! Character that we hear in Mario 64 and Mario Kart. And he has been Mario this entire time. He only recently retired this last year. I think Chris Pratt gave Nintendo this idea that like we can move the voice around and get more leverage out of people voicing the character as opposed to just giving it to this one dude who's famous for being this one dude. I met Charles Martinet at Rhode Island Comic-Con, and Charles Martinet is an S-tier performer in terms of meeting people at conventions. He did something I've never seen anybody do at conventions. One, he ran his own booth. That's interesting enough. A lot of people like to have handlers with them to reduce the amount of awkwardness of like taking money from fans, right? Charles Martinet, what makes him unique is the moment you walk up to his counter, the moment you're talking to him at his table, he has taken control of the entire interaction, which sounds like a negative. You know what I mean? Like you're talking to somebody and they just take the whole conversation. No. Charles Martinet, by doing this, removes all awkwardness. Even someone like me who's done this a million times, you can still feel a little awkward interacting with these celebrities. It's inherent. You're meeting someone new, but also someone that you feel like you've known your whole life. You know what I mean? Charles Martinet gets like someone to take the photo, right? And then he calls out what you're going to be doing. And he goes like, hey, everybody, okay, peace sign. And then you just find yourself doing it. And he's like jumping and you find yourself doing it. He's so high energy. And my friend, he likes collecting the autographs, whereas I'm more of the photo guy. So there's like all these photographs on the table, like at any convention where it's like, I was in this movie, But with Charles Martinet, it's all the voices that he's done. So as my friend is just perusing, ooh, that would be a cool one, Wario. Oh, that would be a cool one, Mario. Waluigi, that would be pretty funny for the meme. And so as he's pointing, Martinet is just, yes, Waluigi time, Wario. Like I can't do it. But he's doing all of the voices as he's just passively picking the photos. It was such a fun interaction It's definitely tippity tip top tier. However, the only negative I could say about this interaction is that if Charles Martinet is the first celebrity you ever meet, if you go to a con, you go to his table, you meet him, you talk to him, you buy your stuff, you leave, he will sour every other celebrity interaction you ever have, because I've never seen somebody perform at that high level, do the voices, take control of the photo shoot, and make sure you get all these awesome action shots. Nobody does it like him that I've seen yet. And so, like, if he's going to a con and you have the opportunity to meet him, do yourself the favor. Okay, this last one, for the good ones, is a little strange. My friends and I went to the Nightmare on Elm Street 25th anniversary reunion at Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. They had literally every member of the cast except for Johnny Depp, because he's Johnny Depp. I don't even know if they had the ability to reach him to tell him about this con. Maybe he would have showed up. So we're there, all the actors are there, and Heather Langenkamp is there. She played Nancy in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. She is my favorite survivor girl in all of the horror movies in general. I feel like she's the most competent. She Home Aloned the shit out of Freddy, whereas a lot of other girls kind of like bumble through. People go for Halloween having the best survivor girl, but like, if you think about it, like, the final kill shot goes to Dr. Loomis. She survives, but she makes a lot of really dumb decisions. Nancy is competent. Nancy saves the day. So my friends and I, we line up and we take this picture with Heather Langenkamp. Wow, what a kind of blurry, fun photograph, right? Thing is, at the time, Heather Langenkamp's daughter was a filmmaker. I don't know if she still is anymore. I should educate myself on that. And she was filming a documentary for her mother called I Am Nancy. So as the convention's going on, it's a small con at the time. It's blown up since then, but it was very small. There's her daughter walking around with a camera, doing all the shooting and stuff, right? Just getting B-roll. About a year later, I'm at my friend's house, and he says, "You're never gonna believe what my brother just sent me." It was the trailer for I Am Nancy, and you'll never guess what made it into the trailer.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Stars autographs.
You see that shit? The photo that my friends and I took for us was immortalized in the Heather Langenkamp documentary filmed by her daughter called I Am Nancy. It's still surreal, and it's my like nerd feather in my cap of like, I go to so many conventions that I made it into a documentary of someone that I wanted to meet myself and still care a great deal about. So Heather Langenkamp was fun, she was engaging, she was nice. The interaction was just super pleasant. She was nice, she was engaging. That would put her, I can't put her on the same exact level as like a Charles Martinet. He's the gold standard for highest tier. So I would put her at the lower end of dog kisser. If I had a dog, I guarantee you she would have kissed my dog for sure. But the cumulative experience, the making it into her documentary, all of that stuff was just so good that it elevated the meeting into the stratosphere. So this is top tier because of the overall experience. But Heather Langenkamp herself, she's still top tier, but she's just at the lower end of the top tier. There were a lot of people there meeting her, so I think expending that energy over a long period of time is exhausting. Here is the uncomfortable one, and so I'm going to try to do this in one take. I don't want to use editing tricks to tell the story because it is sensitive. So if you're here for the drama, here it comes. But if you're a person that gets easily uncomfortable over talks of things like harassment, this might be actually where you want to end the video. And, you know, thanks for stopping by. See you later. Love you. Bye. I went to Rock and Shock. I want to say it was like 2014, 2015. I was going to meet my favorite author, Jack Ketchum. If I do a sequel to these, I'll definitely talk about that interaction. It was weird. I bought him lunch. But I was getting a Star Trek autograph for my brother-in-law. That's like a thing that I do. I go to conventions. I love Star Trek. He loves Star Trek. For Christmas, I'll get him a Star Trek autograph. And I met Malcolm McDowell. And I knew him from the Tank Girl movie and Star Trek Generations. So it was just a fun little, hey, how you doing? Let's shake hands. I go through the line. It's really simple. He's charming. He does a hello, young man. If you know Malcolm McDowell, that's actually not a bad impression. Hello, young man. How are you? And I was, great. That's awesome. Nice to meet you. Which one of these photos is your favorite, sir? Oh, well, I'm more partial to the dramatic photographs. And so there's one. It's a famous scene of him from Star Trek Generations where he's got his back turned. He's got his arms out, and like this anomaly is about to hit him, this big lightning bolt, effectively. And so that's the one I picked. And he shook my hand. We took this photo. Perfectly fine. I would have given him a good day, maybe even a middle tier good day grade, because he was pleasant. He was slightly engaging, looked me in the eyes, took the photo. Great time, right? So I go off to the side. And my friend that I came with and his wife are next. They come in, they meet him. Incidentally, his wife was also into Tank Girl, and that's where she knew him from. They take the photo. I'm doing my thing, playing with my backpack, and they leave the line. And my friend he's pissed. He looks pissed. And his girlfriend at the time, now wife with child, like they're wholly together. She was white as a sheet. She's a non-confrontational kind of person, right? So she's lily white, and I'm like, what's going on? The story they proceed to tell me is that when they were taking the photo, he put his arm around my friend and he put his hand on his girlfriend's butt, and he grabbed it. It wasn't like a placement. The way she was saying is like, no, like he grabbed it. Like he didn't put his hand on my lower back and it kind of sat on that, Gaza strip line that, it wasn't there. It was, he grabbed it. That was gross to hear. This is years before Me Too at this point in time. And so like, I don't know what to do with this information. And so he's consoling her, they're coming down, and, we kind of just move on. Like, what do you do in a situation like that? Like, you don't go back and flip the table and assault the guy. Do you go to staff? None of us knew what to do. We all kind of froze. You have fight, flight, or freeze. All three of us froze. So we move on. We go to a different table. And I actually had to ask my wife if I should name drop this celebrity, but there was another celebrity at this convention, a famous voice actor, who very famous for, a horror related voice, an icon type character. And she's still uncomfortable. She looks uncomfortable. And so we're as a group talking to this voice actor, and two more of our friends have joined the group. So now it's 4 guys, 1 girlfriend, and this celebrity voice actor. And we're probably like 200 feet away from Malcolm McDowell. And the voice actor, who I will not name, on advice from my wife, he kind of like zeroes in on the discomfort that the girlfriend is feeling. And he, to all the credit in the world, he goes up to her. And that, the reason why I wanted to name his name, but think better of it now, is because he went out of his way. He saw how this girl was feeling, and he kind of like weaved through us and zeroed in on her and was like, hey, is everything going okay for you? And she tells him the story, and he gets pissed. He gets visibly upset. He gets this look on his face. And he proceeds to tell us they had at the Rock and Shock convention, they have like a celebrity meeting, like a meal. Everybody gets together, buffet style. All the celebrities can talk and mingle, and it's like a good networking event. But you're You're all here for the convention. You're staying at the hotel, whatever. And so this voice actor, he had his wife, and he said Malcolm McDowell pulled, the way he said Malcolm McDowell pulled the same shit on my wife and I almost punched him. He said I almost knocked him the fuck out. Those are his words. And so you'd think that would make us feel better, right? Like, oh, good, we're not crazy. This actually happened and this guy is shitty. But we all froze. 4 grown men and 1 girl who got touched in a way that she didn't want. All of us, fight, flight, or freeze. We all froze, and we're like, well, what the fuck do we do now? Like, do we continue to have fun at this convention? Do we take her home? Like, does she need to talk about it? What do we do? And the voice actor, I think, seeing how poorly we were doing as a group, he wanted to validate us even more, and he said, and these are again the voice actor's words, he goes, "That dude's a disgusting lech. Please don't let him ruin your day." And so, like, we tried not to. We went about our day and we met other celebrities and we took other photos. There are photos that same day that I took after McDowell. McDowell was the first one that I did because I knew his line would be one of the longest. Thankfully, we got in and out, but I don't know. This isn't. This is the one that I wanted to be the most sensitive about. This isn't a call for action. This isn't a go through your house and burn your Tank Girl DVDs and don't watch Star Trek Generations. I own Star Trek Generations. You know what I mean? But like it still happened, and it's fucking gross. It's really fucking gross. And so when I was making this tier list of how do I rank celebrities, the middle was the one that was the easiest to understand. But for me personally, I started with the worst and I built it from there up. And I've had a mean celebrity interaction. I've had mean celebrity reactions. And like I said, if you like this video, I can tell you those stories too. But the bare basement bones, bottom of the barrel bullshit that I've seen and experienced with celebrities and going to conventions, this was the worst one. That was icky. Seeing a friend of mine feel upset because someone put their hands on her because they felt entitled to, because they've been in some fucking movies. As the years go on, I get pissed. Not just pissed at him. Of course, I'm pissed at him. I was pissed at him that day, but angry with myself for freezing. Because we all, especially American men, especially people who are into comic books and action movies and men of valor, we all tell ourselves that I'm going to be the first one in line to put a stop to that shit. And I'm telling you, four grown men who saw one of their friends, and in one case girlfriend, get treated that way, we didn't do shit. And I still struggle with that. I'm going to have to talk to Jesus about that when I die, about how, what do you regret and how do you feel about it? My first therapy session laying on the couch talking to Jesus is going to be about like, why the fuck didn't I do anything? Why didn't I say anything? And so to this day, you look at the photo with me and McDowell, I'm 6'4", the guy's 5'0" and 60 at the time. If I wanted to put my hands on this asshole and tell him like, what the hell did you do? Like I could have, but I didn't. And so as the years go on and I see people have strong reactions to celebrity culture and, accusations and stuff, and they're like, well, I would have done it so differently. And I'm like, man, let me get you in the room with Malcolm McFucking-Dowell and see what you do. Cause I didn't. And so I'm sure before that meeting, I would have said something tough as well. Like, yeah, of course, I'm never going to let anybody hurt one of my friends. But like, I did. Man, what a bummer. What did I tell you? This is such a bummer to end on. But where would I put this story You know what I mean? I can't lead the video with this and bring the whole mood down. I had to end it here, but I just want to say conventions are amazing. They're fantastic. And these are just some of my stories. I want to encourage anybody who's a fan of anything. If you are a passionate person about fun stuff like conventions, please, I want to see you go out there and have fun. And there's a lot of fun to be had. But when you do it for 20 years, of course, you're bound to meet some pricks out there. And this was my worst one. So if I do a sequel to this, you'll never hear anything this bad again. I promise. There's some dickheads for sure, but never anything as bad as like Harvey Weinstein-ish type stuff. So thank you so much for stopping by. Like, comment. I don't give a shit. Love you. Bye.